what is the weirdest thing you've hyper-focused on at 3 a.m?
It's weird because I've never really madly suffered from the whole sleep thing with ADHD, and so my brain closes down late in the evening, and I've kind of got a read to close it down, but then I sleep like a baby, so I don't get massive amounts of sleepless nights. But of course, if something is in your head and you literally it's a problem or something that you're just procrastinating over or ruminating over because the RSD's kicked in or whatever it is, then of course you're into massive sleepless nights and you can't get out of it. And so
do you think the screen, I was going to say, like, because when I said to you said about book, you read a dull book.
I read,
but do you think that's because
fiction,
do you think with because the screen, if you was on your phone, do you think that would be very different?
Oh man, I wouldn't be able to sleep.
Yeah, but that's probably that's the trick. That's the trick.
Charlie can sit on the sofa in the evening and just like scroll. I literally can't do that, because if I did that, I would never sleep.
Well, you can't do that on the LinkedIn feed anymore.
You certainly can't do that because it's a pile of shite. No, I can't. I think I trained myself before I even was diagnosed with ADHD. I think I trained myself. That's the way that I've got to do it. And so it's kind of a self-taught learned behaviour and it is a routine. Where I just literally read dull stuff. I can't read motivational, business entrepreneur books because my brain literally comes alive, and that's it. I'm buggered for the night.
Then you set up another idea. You buy the domain. Another business idea.
Anything that requires any degree of intelligence, I literally can't read that late at night. I have to read really just boring detective stories, because it just eventually I kind of go to sleep and my brain is switching my brain off. So
question 2, I've always found that loads of tabs are open. It's one tab, I'm open another tab, open another tab, and you've got loads of tabs, and it gets to a point where there's so many tabs it goes to a smiley. But I asked you this earlier, and I was like, how many tabs is too many tabs? But you're actually, because you've got that screen like this.
I've got a
massive,
massive screen anyway. But I'm not a massive tab, because I don't think I use that many websites. So most of the time I'm on Premiere Pro. So I don't really use that many. There's many tabs open in my brain, Thomas.
Loads of tabs.
And they're all open, and I don't know where I am with each of them.
This is the best one, I think. What's your go-to excuse when you when you forget something, but that you also forgot?
This is embarrassing because I'm short-term memory, obviously, big thing, and so I forget everything. And it's embarrassing because now Charlie reminds me 3, 4, 5 times. Don't forget this, or have you done this? Have you done that? And to a lot of people, I guess that could come across, no disrespect, could come across as a bit nagging, but to me it's a lifeline, because I don't take it as nagging, I take it as I've just forgotten this shit. I mean, we were supposed to be going out for a meal last Wednesday with my mum and my brother, and literally an hour before Charlie said, oh well, we're going out. Are we? Where are we going? No clue. Completely gone out of my head. So I forget it all the time, and my go-to excuse is, sorry, I've got ADHD. I mean, it is because my short-term memory is so poor.
You ever come up with any big whoppers though?
What, like to get out of the problem?
No, well, because I've always found that sometimes I said this to you earlier, is like when you're people pleasing, you sometimes actually forget how many people you said yes to. You actually forget, and everyone goes, well, you're supposed to be here. I think I have said my goldfish died once, and I didn't even have a goldfish.
It's the old story in recruitment, isn't it? How many times has your granny died? They're always making excuses for not turning up for a shift or something.
She died 5 years ago.
I know, exactly. I mean, we used to keep.
It's my friend's nan.
Back in my temporary recruitment days, we literally used to keep a track record of how many times their grandparents had died, because it was an excuse that was rolled out all the time. Yeah, of course I have.
When someone says just focus, what goes through your head?
There's 2 words that go through my head. Fuck off.
Do you find that if anyone tells you what to do, it is like, what? Instructions?
I have literally no patience for that, because I think I grew up with that as well, with my dad saying just try harder, that whole try harder thing. And of course, when you don't know that you are neurodiverse, you do. I mean, we spend our entire lives beating ourselves up because we're not trying hard enough. And so the idea of just focus now is literally fuck off.
Do you ever have the 3 things for you, like growing up too much, too sensitive, or
I say this to Charlie actually, because you've got this sensitivity side to you that I think I'm a psychopath. I just don't have that. I get massive RSD, but I'm not a sensitive person.
Do you think that's tough? Because obviously,
because my dad was a wanker, he's taken all that stuff out of me.
Do you think that but if you thought about it from your own perspective, do you think actually that person is in there? It's just it's going to take a bit of growth, a bit of all that, not laid growth, but a bit of sorry, I just used to use that now. But that bit of that, unpeeling that onion.
Do you think underneath the surface there is a sensitive person?
Do you think just don't want because you don't want to show it?
I think I'm more happy. It's like you said in your post this morning, actually on LinkedIn, out and proud of being who I am. I've got no issues with being and showing who I am. We're in Brighton, but literally no issues with showing the real person. So I don't think I've got an issue with showing sensitivity. I just don't. I'm not really that sensitive.
Affectionate.
Not massively.
No.
Romantic? No. Not really romantic.
Hopeless romantic.
Not really romantic. I don't know. No, I don't.
Are you more acts of kindness than that kind of?
No, I don't do that either. She's literally shaking her head.
A poem. Love you, babe.
I think that says self-obsessed narcissist.
Yeah. Do you think you'll get there?
I mean, I'm 58, mate. So there's always hope, but not a lot.
What is so I think we said about this, what is the most ADHD meal you've made?
I thought that question was hilarious on the basis that I mean, I think I've probably only cooked one meal in my entire life. It would be random. I mean, if I do cook, it is usually random. Oh, so, I've got to tell you the story. when we were first dating, I don't know if is that a term these days?
Courting?
Courting, yeah, when we were courting.
So seeing.
When we were seeing each other, first of all, Charlie came round to my tiny little house in Canterbury, and I said, I've just chucked pizzas in the oven, and because we were going out somewhere, I think, and I served up the pizzas. I'd actually put the pizza in the oven with the cardboard underneath it still. Oh, God. So yeah, I'm a and they were burnt to a crisp. So I'm a dreadful cook, and it would be. Do
you feel like that because you're not? You know what it's like with ADHD. You either, if you're really passionate about something, you're into it. But it's like if you're not passionate, you can't get your brain to do the thing that wants you to do.
So I've never been a foodie. Food is fuel. That's always the way I've treated fuel. If I was going to cook, I'd want probably the most elaborate recipe by some well-known chef, and I'd gone out shopping to Tesco's and bought all of the ingredients and spent the whole afternoon doing it.
Set yourself up there.
and the bit that then goes in my brain, well, what's the point? Because it's going to be gone in 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So burger from Deliveroo.
Love that. So do you use alarms or do
alarms
you're setting the routine anyway because you have to the dog and
I'm early to bed usually because my brain is switched off because my meds are worn off, and then my routine of going to sleep. I'm awake at 5:30 in the morning, just naturally just I wake up.
The cock-a-doodle and you're up.
I'm just awake. This morning I was awake at about 4:30, and that's just normal. So no, a morning alarm, no. Things like meds alarms I do set. And then I switch them off and forget within 2 minutes that I haven't taken the meds, and then wonder an hour later why my brain is all up over the place. And then
I need meds.
So,
what's your most chaotic thought spiral? I'm gonna swap this a little bit. Thought spiral for more of a like in general, and then thought spiral into more the self-sabotage stuff.
Oh, I self-sabotage all the time.
On your work or you as a person?
Just everything. Literally everything.
You question everything?
Question everything.
Literally
everything.
Every outcome.
Yeah, I will go to the bottom of that rabbit hole every single time on everything, and I will. And the RSD kicks in, so you make shit up that wasn't there in the first place.
Make up all
then
the
you think it's over, we're finished, it's done. Because you've just gone down this spiral of thinking. You've convinced yourself that is true. And then what? And this is the thing. Communication is so key with ADHD because my brain just literally goes off down this complete ridiculous spiral that is none of it's true, but you convince yourself it is, and then you say, but you said this, and Charlie will say to me, Oh, yeah, but I didn't mean like that. I meant this.
Yeah.
And then literally your brain goes all the way back up the road. Oh, I know. Didn't know that.
It's like if like Charlie said like babe and didn't call you babe one day, you would then go,
why should I call me babe?
Wrong? Yeah.
What have I done wrong?
Yeah, well, everything okay?
Every single time.
Is it though? It's like, I think I've done this, and you at a state of it's awful. Anxiety all day to worry about if someone wants to be with you or not.
You know, I mean, exactly. The one bit with I can cope with a lot of ADHD. You know, the hyperfocus, I love the hyperfocus. I really do love the hyperfocus bit. If there's one bit of ADHD I could switch off, it would be the rejection sensitivity. It's just awful.
It's crippling.
It is crippling. Yeah, 100% crippling. And it's only since we started to talk about it more often that Charlie will now go, "Is your RSD kicking in?" And I'll go, "Oh yes, it is."
Yeah.
So that piece around communication. I mean, we literally walk the prom with the dog in the evenings, and I say, you know, rate my ADHD out of 10 without using 6, because 6 is pointless, for today. And she'll go, "Well, I think you're probably about a 7. Okay, well, why did I not score a 10?
Yeah.
So, but that opens up the communication channels to go, well, you did do this, and I did wonder whether that was your ADHD. And so it allows you to reflect and go, do you know what that probably was? That's what. But it gets any of those issues that could end up spiralling for weeks off the table straight away because you've dealt with them.
Yeah, I think it's also you do really need to understand yourself on what you do and when you do it, and
this is the thing. You know, this is such an important point because you and I were diagnosed with ADHD around the same time, about 6 years ago. Of course, neither of us had any clue what that actually meant. No. It answered a lot of questions initially because you think, oh, okay, I get now why I am different. But it takes a long time for you to start, especially when you're at the age of 58, because you've lived a life. A lot of the things that happened in childhood or in adult or in a previous relationship or whatever, you start to look at and you think, oh, that's why. So, but that takes a long time, and I tell you now, because even my dad's in a care home. There's been a lot of issues around all that sort of stuff, and it's bringing up loads of stuff in my head, which I'm now almost partitioning and saying, "Oh, that's ADHD." Oh, but it takes ages.
It makes sense.
It does make sense.
Because obviously, like when you've talked about the businesses that you've had before, and I've seen your videos where you're doing all these sketches, and I was like. Only someone with ADHD would be able to come up at that level of creativity, and then you're like, oh, I've been diagnosed. It's like, and it's hard to manage the relationships with the business because you open up a business, doing well, get bored, right, next business. Now you've got to worry about everyone else in the office. How would you approach it? I'm going to feel like a prick or whatever. Then you're hurting. Then you come away from it. Then you don't know where to go. You lost your purpose. Going down the rabbit hole, suicidal thoughts. The whole. I've
never gone down the suicidal bit for me. It's never taken me that. I think I'm too much of a cocky wanker, I suppose. No, I'll stay around. I've never.
But more of like, wish I'm a shit person.
Oh, I've done that. But I think Again, this is interesting, this conversation, because it starts to bring up stuff from the way you think. I mean, I think I've felt that all my life. That idea that you're not good enough, because people keep telling you.
Do you feel like you're good enough though?
No.
Really? Why?
No.
But why?
Because
you're a perfectionist. You feel like it's not because of how you are. Or
it's not perfectionism. No. It is. See, somewhere one of the buttons that my father would have installed would be you're not successful until you've made 10 million quid or whatever it is. So it's always that success metric.
That wouldn't be enough then, would it?
But that wouldn't be enough. But that success metric was always geared around financial. So unless you've made 3 million quid or then you're not successful. And that's a button that's still installed in me, which is actually also a driving force as well.
To kind of prove someone else wrong.
Because I will carry on, I will do this. But I don't think I ever felt good enough. I don't think I've ever felt good enough. Do you feel like because you're learning so much about you are becoming to, like, it sounds a bit wanky, but like love yourself? I get to the stage now where I don't give a shit.
Really?
No, I don't give a shit anymore about all of those sort of false roots of of being good enough. I can see them for what they are now, but it's still there. It's still there, and so my default reaction is no, I'm not, because there's always something else to do, or I want to achieve this, or I want to achieve that, and so you don't ever really feel comfortable in your own skin, because there's always you're always driving on to do something else, and this is where Charlie and I are so different, because I don't think I can ever really fully relax, because it's like, hold on, we've got to do this, we've got to do that, we've got,
even though you've done everything all day, do you then feel like I need to do
more?
more?
I can relax in the moment, to a certain degree, but then my brain just goes fuzzy and I have to go to sleep or whatever. But it's that sort of life relaxation. I never get to so if I'm on holiday for 2 weeks, I can't really relax, because it's just like, but
your ideas,
something's going on at work, I've got to be involved in what's going on at work, and so something is always kind of driving on, and I wish I could be more relaxed. And it comes from that button that was installed that says, you just keep driving forwards all the time.
Do you ever get emotional? That's not on there.
I was going to say, that's a curveball question.
Honestly, genuinely.
Not openly.
In your own safe space, if you...
In my brain I do.
Really?
But not openly.
Not be able to show it?
I think if I feel safe...
as in, like, if you was in your office?
I can express vulnerability.
Okay.
I would never cry in front of somebody.
Really?
No, I don't know. I'd never.
Do you think
it's not on purpose? I just would.
Do you think that's drilled into you then?
Probably, yeah, because real men don't cry. And that's the way I was brought up. So, and
that's ingrained in you.
That's ingrained. That's really from a very early age.
Do you ever want to sometimes
No.
Just
I think it's literally been.
You're holding it, your bottom lips going. You're like, no, I'm not doing it.
I'm not. If we're sitting in front of a film or something, and it's funny. Of course, I've got a tear coming in my eye. But that sort of emotion.
Would you find that embarrassing then? Not embarrassing, but do you find that just in front of someone? If you'd actually
I wouldn't find it embarrassing at all. I'm comfortable. I would be really comfortable to do it. I think it's been almost bashed out of me to the point where I can't.
Yeah.
It's like Prince Andrew, he doesn't sweat. I don't cry.
Do you find? But then I always found what I find with the medication is that if I see something that makes me upset, I can't cry on it. But if I have a weekend and I watch, there's like something that just triggers me, might be something, I don't know, something silly, I'm gone. But I feel the medication actually stops it from me.
I've forgotten the question.
Tell me you got ADHD. So basically about being emotional about the medication.
So that was one of my concerns actually with meds. First of all, was will it sort of take away my personality, take away that creativity? And I think it did for a while. I felt a little bit dulled. I don't any longer.
You're bonding.
I think I'm quite comfortable with it. I can still, my creativity is still absolutely there. I'm still as balmy as I ever was and do stupid things. So I don't think it does. I've kind of got used to it. But it was a concern at the start, definitely.
So last question then, have you ever done the walk in the room and forget why, but in your own room?
Every single day. Every day. Every day I go somewhere and what the hell am I here for? Or this is not necessarily an ADHD thing, but I can look in the cutlery drawer for the corkscrew and never find it, and it's there.
Or it's in your hand.
Oh yeah.
Where's my phone? Where's my phone?
I've never gone as far as putting the the cheese in the bread bin or anything like that. I know, that's why I said it. I've never done that.
Oh, is it only me? I've just been seen.
Yeah. I've never done that, but I'll often have no idea what I'm supposed to do. It's like forgetting questions. I guess your short-term memory is so poor, you just have no idea. All the time.
What's one? I was going to say, what last one then? What's one thing that's really massively helped you with your ADHD to kind of bond with it, and what's one thing that you would do differently that you haven't done looking back at 6 years ago? Would you have got the ADHD diagnosis sooner if you knew?
Oh God, yeah.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
It
was Liv that said to me one day in the office, "I'm sure you've got a bit of ADHD," and of course then the ADHD kicks in. You go, "What do you mean? ADHD?" Yes, I have.
Concentration, focus.
Exactly. I must get diagnosed. You're down that rabbit hole, and I'm glad I did it because it did.
Well, imagine waiting now. Fucking hell.
It was eye-opening, and it did answer a lot of questions. And I've forgotten the question. What was the first bit?
It was I've forgotten now. It's like Ant and Dec. It was about walking into the room.
No, it wasn't. There was another one.
It was about. No, that's it. So I'm trying to get my thoughts as well. Gather your ones. 6 years ago. What would be advice you'd give?
You asked me what the best thing that happened to learn about my ADHD.
Yeah. What would you learn about?
It's this person sitting over here. I've learned more about my ADHD since we've been together than ever. And it comes down to what we said earlier, that bit about open communication. So there is no subject that's off limits, and Charlie's quite happy to say to me, look, your RSD's kicking in, or is that your ADHD? And she'll challenge it, and not in a accusatory way. No. Just say, is it? Which allows me to then go, well, is it? Yes, it probably is. And that self-awareness piece, like you were saying, is just critical. You know, to really know yourself. I know certain situations. So, for example, we'll go into a restaurant and Charlie will naturally now say to me, do you want to face the wall? Yes, please. Because I do not want any of that other distraction behind, you know, over there. Because literally, I won't be focusing on what
you can hear about everyone else's conversation.
I just want to face nothing. I want to face you and only you. But that's natural now for us to do that. And you know, we already know if we go out into a loud environment, I do get sensory overload to a degree as well, and I can stay there for a while, but I can't stay there for long. So
when it's music, I can listen to it.
But if it's music, if you go into a gig and you know, you're literally just focusing on the music. No issues with that at all. If you now put me in that environment and also try to have a conversation with somebody, game over. No chance. Not a chance. Focus on one thing, absolutely fine. So self-awareness is the key, and I think, you know, this is a classic. This is literally because my ADHD brain has just remembered
association.
This. This is how bad I am. So I follow these two guys on YouTube called ADHD Adult UK podcast. They're these two guys. One's a doctor, the other's a professor. They are hilarious. The banter between the two of them is just amazing. They rip the piss out of each other, and it's really fun to watch. And Charlie sent me on text this link saying, ADHD Adult UK, coming to Brighton, book tour, and I looked at it, didn't actually associate it with the podcast. Yeah, that's nice. And then, in February, bearing in mind this thing had happened in January, in February I saw somewhere else that they'd been in Brighton. Charlie, they've been in Brighton. Yeah, I know, I sent you the bloody link.
So you could have gone.
Could have gone and just completely gone. Yeah, so ADHD is the thing is, you've got to laugh at yourself as well. You can't
take it seriously because when you're with, like, obviously when we're together, you both do exactly the same thing, and it's just nice to be able to feel. I just saying to Charlie, like, not judged.
Exactly.
And to be like, yeah, whatever you said, I'd be like, yeah, brilliant, woo.
Exactly. You know, you are who you are, and I think the worst thing you can do is beat yourself up. You know, you have got to accept yourself in the skin that you're in, and when you do, and I think that does come with a little bit of age and maturity. But when you do, life gets a little bit easier because you know why you did it, and you can say, look, I'm really sorry, but you can also say, I'm really sorry. Look, I'm neurodiverse, and my brain did this, and that's the reason. And I'm sorry, I'm sorry, it's bad behaviour, but that's the reason why, and I'll try and do something.
Over-communicating. It's one of the key. It's over-communicating everything, and you have to. Even when you're trying to understand it from your partners, it's like, okay, you communicate. Okay, can you over-communicate?
There's no such thing as over-communicating. Just keep it coming. Tell me everything, because then I know in my brain I can work out what's happening. The communication is absolutely key for me.
Done.
Nice one, Matt.
That was good.
That was cool. I love that.